Hello, we are back with part 8 or episode 8 of my F122 My Team Career Mode. Right now I'm just choosing the activities. What do? I attend an F1 esports event and do a durability equipment upgrade plus a durability team building. So, the morale of durability should be really good. So, as for facilities, I think with 11 mil, I'm gonna make an upgrade, or maybe not. I don't know what I choose in this recording since I am just voicing over, and I forgot what I played. But yeah, most of the upgrades are around 2 mil, so I think I'm gonna upgrade because I'm trying to go for. Who am I trying to go for? Who was it? I think it was Yuki Tsunoda. But yeah, I upgrade the simulator in the personnel department. The simulator, which will improve my second driver race, I don't know, stats, something. Either pace awareness or like consistency, something like that. But like I've been saying the past couple episodes, durability and powertrain are both undergoing regulation changes for the next season. So it'd be 23. And you see on my parts, I am moving all my good parts, and I am changing them out for my bad parts so I can do practice in the Brazil with the bad parts so I don't wear out my good parts. Because I still have 2 more races, Brazil, which is this episode, plus Abu Dhabi. After that, which is of course the season final. And yeah, I just downgrade all of my good parts. Even like my 4th ICE, that's already getting worn down. So yeah. So I'm trying to keep wear. Right now we are P9 in the driver standings, and I think it was P5 in the constructors, which is pretty good for our first season. And then I had this, especially in the beginning, I set this as low, the one where we had like no cash and anything. So no cash, no R&D. And right now there's a asking me to host or an event or decline. So if I accept, I'll get 1,000 plus second driver claim, but -7 driver race, and then decline, again nothing. So I declined it because I don't want to affect Oscar because he's already doing bad. Why would I make him worse? So my activities is done. I skipped the Pirelli hot laps. Now we're going on to the Brazil race weekend. Here we see practice FP1 and FP2, plus the sprint race will be raining, but then qualifying and the real race will be dry. So yeah, I just do my 1 FP1, and then now I'm going on to my qualifying session. And now you see my ICE and my MGUH is worn down, so I have to change it I have to change all my parts anyway, because after FP1 is qualifying, so I have to change all my parts to the good parts so I can, place high in qualifying, which I never do because my qualifying pace is so bad. My race pace is always better than my qualifying pace. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my rival, I'm tied 8-8 with my rival. Now here's the qualifying session. Yeah, and then the setup, I'm just gonna make a setup from online. You can see what I do. My front wing arrow, rear wing arrow, on throttle, off throttle, off 54, on 100, front camber, rear camber, front toe, rear toe. Yeah, 2.5, 1.05, and 0.20, front suspension, rear suspension, front anti-roll bar, rear anti-roll bar, front ride height, rear ride height, all that. The brakes, 100% brake pressure, 50% front brake bias, and then the rears and the front tires. I set my fuel load as low as possible to have as less weight in the car for the qualifying session, so I go super quick. But yeah, now we're going on to my one-shot qualifying lap, and I'll just be quiet. You can watch. Right, that was my qualifying lap complete. And Lando Norris takes provisional pole. I take P20, which is pretty bad in a 22 car grid. So, yeah, probably better than Goat Tiffy and my teammate. That's probably who I beat in qualifying. Let's see, there you can see, you can pause the screen or whatever to watch the qualifying positions, and I was right. Even Goat Tiffy beat my teammate. Man, Oscar, with all this drama, he better not be like in my game. But George Russell beats me in the rival in the qualifying one, so he has 10 and I have 9 in the rivalry breakdown. Yeah, there's the acclaim for the team. Me and Oscar, Oscar took a hit because he took the wooden spoon of last place, P22. That's why I'm gonna sack him after this season. And yep, that's all the practice programs after FP2. Only 2 practice. We got some resource points to, research R&D, and we also got our magnetic compound cheaper, I guess. Yep, there's the acclaim after the practice sessions, and Oscar took an even less hit. I don't even know. He better be good when he's in the McLaren seat next year. Yeah, that sucks for Daniel Ricciardo. But yeah, now we're going. Oh, and I upgrade something. I just finished a chassis upgrade for the wooden plank. And I think I'm gonna upgrade my tire blankets. Yep, 960 points. Finish in 16 days with a 30% chance of failure. Yep, now we're going on to the race. And I'll just let Martin Brundle or Ted Crofty, something like that. I'll let them speak.
Here today has the raw skill to take them to the top. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Sergio Perez, and Sainz. Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, Ricciardo, and Kevin Magnussen. Bottas, Ocon, Sebastian Vettel, and Albon. Stroll, Gasly, Yuki Tsunoda, and Guan Yu Zhou. Mick Schumacher, Hughes, Latifi, and Oscar Piastri. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out. The formation lap gets underway ahead of today's sprint. It's going to be interesting to see who gets pole position. cars take their positions on the grid, the final preparations have been made, and all that's left is for the drivers to deliver on track.
Right, now that is the formation lap over, and we have 5 lights, and away we go. Now for the sprint race, the F122 season in Brazil, and we get a pretty bad start because Latifi overtakes us. But then in the first corner, I overtake Mick Schumacher in the Haas, and in front of us, all the cars are squabbling for positions. In front we have Zhou Guanyu and Yuki Tsunoda. Behind us we have the GOAT himself and Mick Schumacher. I try to send one down the outside, but then I run wide. And then there's a virtual safety car, and I don't know if Latifi, he should get looked at for that, but I think he overtook me during the yellow flags, and the safety car was out. Well, I don't know about that. That was kind of... But yeah, now I'm where I started in P20 with Tsunoda and Latifi in front and Schumacher and Piastri behind me. And everyone in their respective teams, because there has been no driver changes. As you can see at the top of the screen and just in the middle of my screen too, there is some rain coming down. So I'm going to tell my team, I'm telling them I'm going to pit for some intermediates. And then there was a little weird thing with Tsunoda right there. He's holding us back right now. But yeah, I go into the pits, tell my team to chuck on some intermediate tires. There's me going down the pit lane. And then we have a couple other people pitting, actually. We have Ocon and Mick Schumacher pitting. So the 3 of us, I think we will have a jump on basically everyone else because no one else is pitting. So yeah, now the virtual safety car is ending. Now they have returned to racing speed. But since it is raining while everyone else is on the soft tires, they're all probably slippery right now since they didn't pit. So I think on this lap, everyone is going to pit. And if they don't, they're just going to lose so much time, and then their position will be basically pretty useless then. Yeah. So I do come out in front of Schumacher and Ocon, which I think Ocon was in front of me while going into the pit. So I don't know how I came out in front of him. Yeah. The gap to me and Schumacher is 1 second, while in front of me Piastri, my teammate, on the softs, he's at 17, 16, but it's slowly going down. So I think it is now time for the intermediates to go onto the cars, because now it's at 14 seconds. So I'm just gaining so much time on all the soft runners. So going on to the last corner into the main straight. Now we're on the main straight, and see right there, my teammate is in the pits. So we got Piastri, we have Stroll. I'll use my ERS to try to go down this main straight to overtake everybody that's pitting right now. We got Alonso, Gasly, yeah, Albon, Verstappen, Russell, Leclerc, basically Lando Norris. We have basically everybody going into pits. Yeah. And everyone who didn't pit, they're just losing so much time. So now we have, who do we have? We have George Russell in front of me in P9. I am P10. Since it's a sprint race, points are only up to P8. So I'm still not in the points position. But yeah. So even though I did the undercut, I guess. But like, I mean, George Russell was all the way in the front. So I guess he would have made it out in front of me. But I did overtake a bunch of people just going into the pits 1 lap earlier. We have the Latifi out on the softs. Like, what? Apparently he didn't pit. So now me and Russell are about to overtake him. And then right here, there's a little incident or something where like Russell and Latifi are going slow. So I go down the inside, I overtake both of them. So getting 2 positions in one. We have Tsunoda and Zhou Guanyu still on the soft. So I think now they're going to pit. Yep, there we go. And there you go, pits, and we had Ricardo and Sainz still on the softs too. So now it is Leclerc P1, me P2, and Russell P3. Us being in P2, even just for a sprint race, is massive points for the team, for the constructors and the drivers' championship. Here we have George Russell trying to send one down the outside. I think we make some contact right there, but not enough to damage our front wing or have any substantial damage to the front wing. Tries to send another one down on my right side, and I cover him up, and he doesn't stick the move. And here, yeah, Leclerc's 3.4 seconds ahead of us. So yeah, I think he's gonna keep that P1 position for the whole sprint race with only 2 laps to go anyway. Russell is constantly trying to make moves. He is only like 0.5 seconds away from me, so not that far. But in the wet, very slippery, it's going to be hard to make overtakes here. I didn't even make a single, or did I? I don't know. I think I made like 1 or 2 on-track overtakes, but all the overtakes were when people were pitting in the pits. And Charles Leclerc sets a 117.883. Here's my, and I set a 119.962, and I skip onto the last lap. Or I skip onto, the last lap. And I set a 119.397. So yeah, my best was a 118.260. Now Charles Leclerc has extended the gap to over 6 seconds, and I have extended my gap to Verstappen now, not Russell, to 1 second. So yeah. So now we're on the last lap of the Brazil sprint race. Here is the top 5 right now. So we got Leclerc P1, me P2, P3 Verstappen, P4 Russell, and P5 Mick Schumacher in the Haas. The Haas in P5, pretty good. Now my proximity arrow senses Verstappen behind me, but I am still managing to keep a Verstappen behind. Now the gap between me and him is 0.7 seconds. And then gap to me and Leclerc is 7 seconds. So I think I'm just going to stay in second for the end of the sprint race. There's the checkered flag. Charles Leclerc wins the sprint race of the Brazil. Now I take P2 podium positions. That's nice points for the team. For driver championship or standings, the driver standings and the constructor standings, and I get driver of the day. So yep, here goes the Charles Leclerc wins his first drivers world champion. Yeah. Which he already did that at Mexico. I don't know why they showed the animation again of doing the donuts. Yep. Here, yep. There's the the positions everyone was in. And here's the driver standings currently. P9. And I'm pretty close to Valtteri Bottas, so I could be P8. Here we go. And then my teammate, Oscar Piastri is P20. And then we are P6 in the constructors. There's the acclaim from the race. Now we're just gonna go on to the real race now. The sprint race is over. It's time for the real racing action. And there's Mark just saying it's gonna be a dry race and watch out. Now let Martin Brundle talk over this now.
And history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. It's an unusual anti-clockwise race here at Interlagos, where the Sao Paulo locals are packed into the grandstands at each of the 15 corners around this classic 2.7-mile circuit. Two very fast sections bookend the famous and highly technical Sector 2, where getting a good run out of Junsao into one of the two DRS zones will be key to any overtaking prospects today. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Charles Leclerc lines up on pole position, and Hughes completes the front row. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Mick Schumacher, Fernando Alonso and Albon, Vettel, Bottas, Magnussen and Pierre Gasly, Verstappen, Sainz, Lance Stroll and Norris, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Nicholas Latifi and Oscar Piastri. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Perez, Ocon, Hamilton and Guan Yu Zhou. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
The formation lap gets underway here in Brazil. Some memorable moments in history have come from this very circuit. Will we be treated to another today? Well, let's find out. So as all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
Alright, here we go. We're lined up on the front of the grid, P2, right next to Leclerc, between Leclerc and Russell. And we get a good start, and then we get into the outside of turn 1. And then, yeah, we keep the position of P2. And it looks like P3 is Albon, and he tried to make a move on us. So Albon putting that Williams in a P3 position. Pretty good for that, for the Williams team. There, he's on the inside now, going into this turn. I'll try to do a switchback, I think that's what it's called, but it doesn't work. And then now he is P2 and I am P3, but he isn't really pulling away, so I could still be in the grabs for P2. Try to go send it, and it does stick. Yep, I reclaimed the P2 position, and I kept Albon behind me. And we got, so yeah, this is, if we continue to just keep it up as P2, then that'd be pretty good points for the team. And then we're going onto the straights now, and yep, Charles Leclerc sets the fastest lap with a 1:14. And he's on P1, and I just skipped a lot of laps because it's boring. There's no action right now, so yeah, I'm just gonna keep going until there's action. So just P1 is Leclerc, P2 is me, P3 Albon, P4 Schumacher, P5 Alonso. And then my time for lap 5, for lap 4 was a 1:11.8. And the time for lap 5 is a 1:11.9. So I think it's almost time to pit because, yeah, the tires are slowly going down. This time is a 1:12.26. Now the pit window is open. I mean, we lost 1 second from like the last lap to this lap, and then the lap before that, another 1 second loss. So I think it's time to pit. We're gonna go on to some mediums. And then the fuel is, I don't know, 0.28 of laps of fuel. and then I have built the gap between in front of me and behind me. And now there is a safety car. Valtteri Bottas, Lando Norris is out of the session, out of this race. So now there is a safety car, and it's telling me to put down the delta time or something. So we have to catch the safety car Q, and this is the perfect time to pit. So I'm gonna hop in the pits, and now Max Verstappen has been disqualified. Yeah, now I'm gonna hop into the pits because I will lose as little time as possible. And now Kevin Magnussen is also out the session. But yeah, as I was saying, I'm hopping into the pits because I don't lose that much time if I go pit under a safety car. And I'm pretty sure that's what a lot of other drivers are doing. You can see Charles Leclerc in front of me has pitted. Almost all the drivers behind me, Albon, Schumacher, Alonso, they have also hopped in the pits. And yeah, as you can see the smoke coming. And Oscar Piastri also went in the pits also. So that's the team trying to do a double stack. But as you saw the engine coming out the back of my car, our engine is failing on us. And we're losing power every lap. So I think the next lap or the next race, Abu Dhabi, I think we are going to take some new engine components, which means we will face engine grid penalties on the last race of the season, which that sucks. If I knew, I would have taken it this one. So at least we can end off with a banger of the last race of the season. We just caught up to the safety car Q, and it's just Leclerc P1 and then me P2 with exactly the same positions. And now it says Max Verstappen is out of the session. Yeah, I just tell Mark to give me a full race update. There we go. I'm losing words. And then I'm just trying to weave to keep my tires warm or cool. Whatever the right operating temperature. There we go. Yeah. And then I guess the safety car is just an Aston Martin. Even though everyone says it's slower than the Mercedes one. I'm pretty sure, I don't think the safety car driver determines the speed of the safety car. It's the FIA. So I don't really think the car can, the drivers in the safety car really determine the speed. But yeah, so now we see all the cars in the back of the grid trying to catch up to the safety car Q. And so that's when the safety car is allowed back into the pits and when racing can happen again, when all the cars have caught up. And it seems like now they are caught up. And I think that's Carlos Sainz and then either Sebastian Vettel or Lance Stroll that are catching up. So they're all the way in the P19s or whatever, or P18s. I don't know how many cars we lost. We lost K-Mag, Max Verstappen, Lando Norris. So I think P19, P18, somewhere around there. But now all the cars have caught up to the safety car Q. And then let's see if the safety car goes back into the pits this lap. Where's the next lap? And it seems like almost all of the field have pitted for some mediums, obviously. And there we go, safety car in this lap. So now I'm just trying to stick as close to the butt or the back of Charles Leclerc. And then And I'm trying to speed up, trying to go. I'm trying to have a nice safety car restart. And then there we go. It's lights, or we go again. And then I do get Charles Leclerc on the first turn, or turn one. I do run wide into that braking zone. And then I keep the position, but for how much longer, I don't know, because the pace of the Ferrari is way quicker than our car, because our car is basically last on the R&D chart right now, so there's no way I can keep P1. But if we did P1 for the team, that'd be pretty good. Yeah, you saw Charles Leclerc send it down on the inside, and I think there was some contact, but I don't know for sure. Is what my player's hand went up and it got mad or something. So maybe Charles Leclerc has some front wing damage, but I'm not sure. So I'm just trying to go as fast as I can, trying to build up the gap between me and Leclerc, but yeah, it's not really building. So I think as soon as DRS is available again, I think he's going to overtake us. So I just used my ERS trying to get away from him, but he's still in my slipstream range. I go into defending position, and I go back in, or I don't, or do I? I don't know. I try to go back into the racing line, and nothing happened that lap. So I just skipped that lap, and now here DRS is enabled. So let's see what Charles Leclerc planned to do. Yeah, he's pretty close, 0.25 seconds away. Going to this turn, and then he sends one down on the inside. And I couldn't defend that position. The pace of the Ferrari is just too quick. So now, yeah, he gets P1 again, and I fall back into P2. Just like how the start of the race was. I do get a warning exceeding track limits for that, and then that braking zone, I really went deep, which almost opened the gap for Albon to overtake me. See, now his gap between me and Albon is now under 1 second, which means he does have DRS with me on the next straight. I do manage to come back from that wide braking accident, and the gap is 1.1 seconds to Albon, so he's not in my DRS range. But I am in Charles Leclerc, but it doesn't really matter. He's still pulling away anyway. 5. Oh, wait, no. I was actually catching up to him. But yeah. And then nothing happened that lap. And you see the gap is 1.4 to me and Charles. So on that lap, 1.5 now. So there's no way I'm going to retake P1. And now it's 2 laps. This lap time is a 1:11.539. Yeah, and every lap it just keeps getting bigger. See, 3 seconds on lap 15, and the time was a 1:11.927. Let's see lap 16. Yeah, the gap is almost 4 seconds now, and this lap time was a 1:11.603. But the gap to me and Albon is building up. Let's see. This one is a 2.1 to Albon, 5 seconds to Charles Leclerc, and this one is a 1:11.987. And this is the last lap of the race. So let's just see. Hope I don't make any last lap mistakes. And yeah, as you see on the mini map, oh my goodness, the gap to me and Charles, too big. Maybe someday we will fight for P1s. Let's see if it's next season with the regulation changes coming. And I think most of the details are pretty finalized for what I'm gonna do as like main sponsor, engine, driver lineup. Yeah, but it's a surprise, But yeah, and see now the gap is 6.1 seconds. It's way too much. And then right there, my Xbox cut out, so I just had to insert the next clip, even though there was a little time jump. But there we go. Charles Leclerc takes the checkered flag as P1, and us P2. So P2 in the main race and the sprint race, which is pretty good for the team. Lots of points for both the championships, which is pretty good. There we go. Checo or Sergio Perez for the Red Bull got driver of the day. There's the Ferrari team celebrating their latest win, Charles Leclerc. You see Albon got P3, Williams. So, yeah, he had amazing performance this race. Yeah, look at him. Like Charles Leclerc, you expect him to be a race winner, but me and Albon, pretty good for where our teams are at. My team's P11 in the P11 in performance, and then Williams is like P10, so pretty good putting a P2, P3 for both of us. And there's Charles Leclerc making it way to the podium. There I am in P2, Albon P3. I think Albon would be a good teammate, but who knows? You just have to wait and see. But yeah. And we go celebrate with champagne on the podium celebration. Yeah, so P2, like I said, nice points for us and the team. There you go, and then there's the results of this race. What? Mick Schumacher took P3. Oh, that was for just the week overall. I was gonna say. Yeah, now I moved up into P7 of the driver standings with 121 points. So I overtook Bottas and Norris just with that P2 finish. And then Piastri P20. Like, I'm sacking him this season. Or next season. And then I move up into P5, or the team, for moving up to P5 in the constructor standing. And then for this week, I do beat George Russell in the rivalry breakdown. And there's the acclaim. I level up to P13. Piastri just levels up some more. And then the team levels up to P16, which is pretty good. And then our money, we got the full amount of money. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode.